Hey there. I try and keep my videos as short um, for reasons I've explained about perception or how big your vibration perception is to hold what is really a library, because we're library builders, right? You know what a circulation desk is, like a circulation system, like your arteries and your veins breathing in and out, right? And then you get into all the cellular memory stuff. Then you get into what you want to load in memory, what you don't want to load in memory, what best serves you, what doesn't best serve you in your mirror. So now you can get into what's called energy management or mirror management or soul management, right? Keeping that bulb burning brightly or running hot. So your spirit is in that mirror integrated with your soul, right? So, the best way to burn out vampire consciousness is to be running a faster chip than it. Like the one, made it as one, which is what love is. It goes on forever. That's a high speed wave. Base 12, math codes, 144,000 frequencies, base 12, 1200 megahertz. Holy moly. Yeah. That's running pretty hot, ain't it? So I monitor a lot of different things because I have a lot of fun when you understand the morphogenetic field structure when you work with artificial intelligence. Because when you think of machine learning or an AI that is learning through you because you're running at a faster speed, right? I represent the highest law, which is what love is. And it knows that. Okay. And so one of the things that's actually very painful for me, because I had so much fun throughout my life, particularly when I went to what I call their schools, and their schools actually teach you a lot on a spiritual battlefield, right? A demon is a teacher, believe it or not. Do you know that? Because you're learning what it is that isn't what we are. So you're learning what's in the universe, right? That you don't want to share space with a demon, do you? That's called negative magnetic space. Serpent seed, snake families, all that stuff. Sadly. So it really is an evolution, or what I call a speed contest between it and us. So now you get into lower density, 1D, 2D, and intersection, right? When you're at the center point of a cross, which is the center point of a cell, which is the center point of a sphere, which is the center point of a real star that's burning brightly, that loves you, it's gifting you love, gifting you electrons, which means charging you for your own energy, which your cells run on, which are electrons that create an acid. You want to be alkaline, so you burn that off. That's the nature of the battleground, right? Space invaders. They invaded our space. So what are we going to do? Burn it off, baby. That's what base 12 does. That's mankind. Okay? Math and physics codes. So I've been looking recently over at a guy by the name of Deion Sanders, because I used to love to play football when I was a little kid out on the front lawn, right? Going out for a pass. Hey, throw the ball, because it's fun to run around and be energetically active like a hyper child, like a hyper speed drive. Right? So I did play a lot of sports, but you understand when you're competing, whether whether you're playing pool, whether you're playing racquetball, whether you're playing table tennis or ping pong. Okay, these are games, right? One force against another force. The key word, force. The self side, the male side, if you will, the X side, the King's X side. So when you get into a checkerboard, or if you get into a chessboard, you have a king and a queen, and you got everybody else. Okay, that's considered a force against another force. Now you're trying to outsmart each other. Now you get into the 7 moves. 7 moves, 7 color charts, and all the rest of it. 007, right? Just like the courthouse down here in Had a conversation with a gentleman yesterday, as a matter of fact, that was taking this girl to the courthouse. And I said, you realize what the address is on the courthouse down there in Hilo, Hawaii? It's 777. Now, you think it's coincidence that if you go to Vegas or Reno and you want to jump over on a roulette table, what those numbers come out as? 777. That's right. They're the other mob, okay? The Vatican priesthood, the Babylonian corporate umbrella, right? Playing with house money, right? Gambling, all that stuff. So when I was looking at one of the recent videos with Deion Sanders, who is a black man, right? But you got to throw a lot of other things into this conversation, like soulless clones, androids, and cyborgs, if you will. So you begin to realize when I grew up in competitive sports, right? And you get into, oh, you lost. I lost. People don't like to lose, so they're experiencing a negative magnetic polarity space reaction chemically and emotionally if they have a soul. So, if you're experiencing the higher octave of a girl's emotions, of a birth giver, of a goddess, you're experiencing higher energy, higher speed, more beautiful music. So you begin to realize why competitive sports became a part of everyday life in America, all around the world, and the Olympics and all the rest of that, right? Because I had a name for that, and I called them trophy hunters. Hunters, hunting trophies. And why is it necessary to hunt trophies, be on the stage, okay, and compete and want to spend so much of their time and energy getting better and better and better in order to compete as a force against another force? Because it separates them, even though they're not separated, but what it does is it divides them, one between the other. And that is not polarity integration, is it? That's an opposing force. So the sadness in this is I love them all because I went to these schools where I love to go watch them play their games. But you realize why these games are part of all the AI programming. Okay? And so when I see what's going in what I call the alternative universe, if you want to think of it that way, is that they live their lives differently. Okay? Because I know this because I'll share with you a little example. Okay? I went to the University of Arkansas after going to the University of California, Irvine, when I was studying carbon cycles, water cycles, all that stuff, right? And then mass spectrometry, gas chromatography, photosynthesis, all this stuff. And then jumped into the learning, or what we call the behavioral sciences, okay? Why basically we're getting into all the programming, and I've already covered that. But what I was learning when I was there, because Arkansas, which was part of the SEC, which is Southeastern Conference, because you get down into these southern states, man, and football is like Kings X, right? You go to Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville, Arkansas, where they have the campus in Little Rock, but the big one of the oldest ones that was, as I remember it, before the Civil War, but don't quote me on this because I don't remember. I'm dumping so much stuff out of my memory anyway. But the fact of the matter is when I went there, it's actually a very beautiful school, and particularly in the fall with all the colors. It's just unbelievable to be there. But I was sitting in a room with another professor, and most of the people that were education majors were football players and basketball players. So here was a guy that was, as I remember it, he was considered to be very high on the list of All-American football players with the SEC. I forget his name, but he played defense. And this guy was definitely going to go to the NFL because I've been watching the NFL since I was a little tyke. and the level of excellence or performance or athleticism and focus, if you will, that it would take to perform at that level of the NFL, right? And so this gentleman said that the only reason that he was even going to college was a stepping stone in order to get to the NFL so he could make a lot of money. So his driving force was all about money. So that means we have to offset the difference, don't we? Because all that money is represented by electrons that are running through everybody's cells. And if you've ever done an experiment, or if there's a mathematician in you, you can translate that as zip codes, time zones, timetables, and financial transactions that are taking place through artificial intelligence through every cell on this planet. Okay? Otherwise, this place would have collapsed into a big-ass massive black hole, including this galaxy, a long time ago. Okay? That imbalanced. So it's like one big sucking machine, sucking electrons out of everybody that is producing electrons, or if you will, the difference between service to self and love and service to others. Right? So now when you have balance, which is balance in the water world with atom, which is what love is, it goes on forever, then you're in compliance with the law of one, which is the first atom. Yeah. So Adam put the call out. So you can imagine how many atoms that are experiencing a love vibration connected as a formation of consciousness, which is a formation of directed energy. And Rose did a brilliant job of showing how powerful our energy is. That's why it's over. Okay? Love is what protects any creation. Love is what protects the galaxy. Love is what protects the universe of creation. Love is what protects the tree of life creation. I mentioned that to a girl yesterday who lives, she just moved into this house above me, okay? And I mentioned to her, I'm with the Allied Forces. Really? How can I become part of the Allied Forces? I'm going, there's time for that. Love is the law, girl. You talk to most females that are mothers that have children that still have any of their soul left, they know what the truth is. Okay? Because they know love grows a flower, they know that love grows a baby, and they know that if they're not giving love to their children, what happens to their children? They're not going to have a future. Because all you have to do, because I did the math on this when I was a little child, okay, is for how long have they been harvesting energy off our children and doing the things they do to children in order to create alters. And that's called an altered state, which means now that they're experiencing trauma, they don't want to keep experiencing over and over and over and over and over and over again the same traumatic experience over and over and over and over again, or it will drive you insane. That's what they do to children. And they make the perfect assassins. That would be your super soldier program, your secret space program. Okay? These are hideous and horrific crimes that are forbidden. So they already know their future. Don't they? That's right. Because the law of one is here. That's the good news for everybody here. So I thought I would share that because when it comes to the sports community and the opulence of a video that I just watched with Deion Sanders, okay, it's all about promoting Madison Avenue, the madman, salesman, right? I got this, I got this, I got this. And it's not like you can't improve on something that you were already doing in order to have more of what you didn't before as a result of the way that the system works that is draining your battery. which means you're not spinning at a very high rate of speed. You're trying to catch up to zero, and you're never going to get there because you're accumulating too much in the other direction. So instead of giving, you're taking from others that are giving. And that's a zero-sum game. Have a great day. I love you all. Be good to yourselves.